Dawn breaks slowly over the frozen fields near Dubosekovo. A pale grey sky hangs low, pressing down on the earth like a lid. Snow crunches under boots as a small group of soldiers moves along a shallow trench line, their breath white in the air. They are tired already, though the day has barely begun. Some wear oversized greatcoats, others patched uniforms that still smell of smoke and oil. Rifles are checked again and again, not from discipline alone, but from nervous habit. A train whistle echoes in the distance, carrying the last reserves toward Moscow. The sound lingers, 10 fades, leaving an uneasy silence. The men exchange glances, no one says it out loud, but everyone understands what that whistle means. There will be no retreat, no second line behind them. Just open land, a road, and beyond it the capital. Political instructor Vasily Klachkov walks the trench, stopping beside each soldier. He doesn't shout. His voice is calm, almost quiet, as he asks where they are from. Alma-Ata, Frunze, Siberian villages whose names blur together. Different accents answer him, but the fear in their eyes is the same. He reminds them why they are here, not with slogans, but with simple words about home, families, and the price of living ground. Far off, a dull rumble rolls across the plain. At first it could be thunder, but the veterans know better. Tanks. The earth itself seems to tremble as the sound grows heavier, more deliberate. A soldier grips a bundle of grenades tighter, his fingers stiff from cold. Another adjusts the sight on an anti-tank rifle, whispering a prayer he hasn't spoken since childhood. Artillery shells begin to fall, throwing up fountains of snow and frozen soil. The air fills with the sharp crack of explosions and the metallic dust of fear. Someone shouts an order, voices overlap, and the trench comes alive with movement. In that moment, before the first tank appears through the smoke, each man understands that history is narrowing down to this strip of frozen ground, and to what they choose to do when the enemy finally comes into view. The shelling lifts as suddenly as it began, leaving behind a ringing silence that hurts the ears. Smoke drifts low over the field, mixing with falling snow and blurring the horizon. Shadows begin to emerge from the grey, dark, moving silhouettes, slow and relentless. The first German tanks crawl forward, their tracks grinding the frozen earth into black slush. Behind them, infantry spreads out, cautious but confident. The order to hold fire passes down the trench in sharp whispers. Fingers tighten on triggers, knuckles white despite the cold. A young soldier peers through his side, breath held, waiting for the distance to close. Every second feels stretched, unnatural. Somewhere to the left, a man mutters that tear to a money. No one answers him. The low tank hits a mine. The explosion is violent and sudden, lifting the steel monster partly off the ground before it crashes back down, burning. Flames lick the snow, turning it to steaming water. The silence shatters. Anti-tank rifles crack, grenades fly, and Molotov cocktails arc through the air, bursting into fire against armor plates. Machine gun fire rips across the field, cutting down the first wave of infantry. Bullets snap overhead and cut into the trench walls. A soldier collapses without a sound, his helmet rolling into the mud. Another drags him aside, eyes empty, movement is automatic. There is no time to mourn. A second tank pushes through the smoke, closer now, it is steered swinging toward the trench. Klachkov stands up, exposed, shouting for the men to hold their ground. His voice cuts through the chaos, steady and fierce, anchoring them. A bottle of fire smashes against the tank's engine deck. Flames roar, and the crew bails out, only to be cut down by rifle fire. The ground between the lines is littered with burning wreckage and fallen bodies. The enemy keeps coming. Ammunition runs low faster than anyone expected. Magazines are passed hand to hand, sometimes pulled from the pockets of the dead. Faces are black with soot, eyes red from smoke and strain. As another wave forms in the distance, the men glance at each other, silently counting who is still alive. They shift their positions, preparing for what comes next, knowing the worst is not behind them but directly ahead. The second assault crashes into them with even greater force. Fresh tanks advance in a wide line, spreading out to avoid the minus T now expect. Artillery resumes, more precise this time, tearing sections of the trench apart and burying men under snow and frozen earth. Shouts turn into cawing, then into silence as smoke thickens and visibility shrinks to a few dozen meters. One anti-tank rifle jams after a single shot. Its operator suffers, drops to his knees, and tries to clear the mechanism with numb fingers. A shell lands nearby, throwing him backward. When the smoke clears, the rifle is twisted, useless. Another soldier crawls forward with grenades tied together, dragging himself through churned up snow as bullets stitch the ground around him. He reaches the track of a passing tank and forces the explosives beneath it. The blast tears the machine open and throws his body aside like a ragdoll. The trench is no longer a line, but a series of broken, isolated positions. Men fight in small groups, sometimes alone. Orders stop coming. Each decision is made in an instant: shoot, run, stand. A tank rolls directly over part of the trench, crushing weapons and bodies alike. Those who survive scramble out the other side, definite but alive. Klachkov appears again through the smoke, wounded, blood dark against the snow. He pulls a frightened soldier to his feet and pushes him back toward the firing line. His voice is hoarse now, but the words carry the same weight. There is nowhere else to go. The men understand. They stop looking behind them. The final moment is blurred together, empty rifles used as clubs, grenades thrown with shaking arms, flames leaking at coats already stiff with ice. One by one, the defenders fall. The last tank slows, then stops. It is still burning, crew trapped inside. Smoke rises straight into the winter sky. When the battlefield finally grows quiet, the snow is blackened and scarred. The German advance has halted. Scattered across the frozen ground lie the men who held the line, their stand finished, their silence heavier than any explosion. Somewhere far to the east, Moscow still stands.